Well, let's ask Fox News contributor and civil rights attorney Leo Terrell my questions now in focus. Let's start with the jury and this act of no sequestration even on the first night. Is that normal?
Harris, it's a bad mistake on a national high-profile case such as this that has gotten national attention. Even when the judge mentioned not to hear what Biden said in his previous statement, it is a mistake. This jury should have been sequestered the moment closing arguments started. They should have been sequestered, and they should not be out there because, as you pointed out, those 500 National Guard troops are out there. And it is impossible, Harris, I've been doing this for 30 years, it's impossible for the jury to shield itself from all the public attention.
So let's just get back to the big mistake. Who made the big mistake? And let's talk about it in the future terms. If they don't reach a verdict tonight, then they get to go home and start it again. They get to go home. They're not sequestered again. So apparently sequestering them has never been part of the equation.
No, it's never been. And I'm surprised that the defense or the prosecution didn't ask, or the judge took the notion of having them sequester on his own motion, because it should have been done. What's going to happen? The unknown, Harris, is what happens each night. You have protesters outside. You just don't know if the public attention will impact the jury members. It's a gamble, and hopefully it will not, but you can't rule it out.
It's a gamble with the fate of a young man's life. Get into the mistakes that Jonathan Turley and other legal analysts and experts like yourself have said that this prosecution made. And then we've got to talk about that gun. We'll get to that.
Harris, let me tell you right now, again, 30 years of practicing law, I've done criminal cases. This prosecutor is a disaster. His obligation, I want people to understand this, the obligation of the government is to prosecute cases on justice, on law. This is a political case, Harris. It's about finding an scapegoat. It's about the Second Amendment. It's about the gun. This case should have never been prosecuted, Harris, because there were not facts. This is an affirmative action, self-defense case, and it should have been basically the reason why this case should have never been prosecuted. It was driven by the media. It was the George Floyd aftermath. It was a mistake.
So do you think that, and this is kind of rhetorical, do you think that the prosecution is aware that it's maybe made some mistakes? And you've seen the drama. You and I were on the air the other day when the judge was admonishing the prosecutor, Thomas Binger, and they were going back and forth. So why in the world, when your goal usually, in cases that I've covered, I've not been in your shoes as a civil rights attorney, but I've covered many cases, your goal is to bring the jury with you, to bring them into your world as a storyteller, as a fact disseminator, and to say this is how the thing laid out. He pointed a gun at them, a big AR-15 style gun, and before the prosecutor does that, he says, is it unloaded? Now, to me, there's a difference between unloaded and safe. To me, there's a difference between, do you trust that person? I mean, just look at what we went through with Alec Baldwin. Somebody hands me something that I'm going to point at a bunch of people. Leo, wouldn't you check it yourself? Wouldn't you have the acumen and the professional knowledge of that kind of a weapon to look at it?
Let me answer that question. Should he have looked at it? Let me think about that. Yes. Yes. It was foolishness. It was phony drama, Harris. This case is annoying because, again, what this prosecutor is doing, he's trying to dramatize the significance of this case. He's ignoring the facts. He's ignoring that he's making tactical mistakes. He's ignoring the law, and all the commentators on Fox have said it. We're all lawyers. He has lied to the jury about the law when he says you lose your right of self-defense when you bring a gun. That is a lie, Harris. I want to be clear. That is a lie. And he doesn't have any problem lying to the jury.
Real quickly, should the judge or could the judge, what's the rule on this? Can the judge say, can you put that down and check it, please?
Yes, the judge should have done it, could have done it, could have brought the attorney to the sidebar and said, hey, let's handle this in a different manner. This was a phony Perry Mason moment that failed nationally and in the courtroom.
Wow. Well, look, I don't want to make too big of a deal. It all ended okay. It's just that it doesn't have to be that way. And given the context of what we're seeing as a nation, do we need any more drama? Leo Terrell, thank you for being in focus. And when the verdict comes, we'll come back. If it's this hour, Fox News is on it, as everyone knows.